Hello, it's layperson Lisa with a reflection on the readings for the second Sunday in Lent. In today's first reading, we hear about the faith of Abram. He is trusting in God that these things that he does not see possible, he trusts and has faith that God will do what he says. And this week at Bible study, we heard a story from a woman who felt God tell her in her heart to pray for someone that she encountered at the supermarket. And sometimes we give God our list of excuses. But God, I don't know this person. But God, he has a scowl on his face. But God, I'm in a rush. And this is when we step out in faith. And so this woman did just that. Despite her wrestling with God and resistance, she wound up praying for the man. She encountered him outside the store and said that she felt like God wanted her to pray for him. And the man just broke down because he had just lost his wife. And earlier that day, he said, God, I don't even believe you're there. You need to give me a sign that you are. And the prayer was that sign. And so often God will ask us to do the hard thing. Just like last week, we heard how the Spirit led Jesus to the desert, that hard place. And oftentimes we need to step out in faith. We need to step out in faith in order, because what is faith? Faith is belief in action. And so, like St. Paul says in the second reading, we are called to be imitators of Christ because we are not citizens of this world. We are citizens of heaven. And are we living out our lives like we are citizens of heaven, like we are imitators of Christ? I know for myself, so often I really fall short in this. I turn inward, and when I turn inward, I am thinking of myself, and I'm not being who God created me to be. I am not imitating Jesus because Jesus was always loving the person in front of him, always being present to the person in front of him. And so when I turn inward, when I am thinking about myself, I'm doing the opposite. I'm not being present to those that God puts in front of me, that he's calling me to imitate him, to have an encounter with, possibly. And so often I am blocking the grace that God wants to bestow upon me. And today, today in the gospel, Peter, they're on Mount Tabor. There's the transfiguration, and Peter says, "Oh Lord, can't we just stay here?" That's what Peter wants, but that's not what he needs. He needs to descend upon that mountain. So often we want to stay in the mountaintop experience, in these little glimpses of heaven where we are citizens, where we just feel the presence of God, but we are called to take that presence down the mountain into the world so that we can share Jesus with other people. So no, Peter did not get to stay in this place, in this mountaintop experience. God needed him to share Jesus with other people, to follow Jesus and to learn from him while Jesus was on this earth, so that we hear in Acts of the Apostles how when the Spirit descended upon Peter, how he was this imitator of Jesus. And the other thing I wanted to point out in the gospel is how Peter, John, and James were overcome by sleep. And how often am I overcome by a spiritual sleep? I am, like I said earlier, I'm not being present to who God created me to be, because I'm not being present to encountering other people because I am spiritually asleep. I am being consumed with my inwardness and the struggle within myself that I am spiritually asleep and I am not able to be God's vessel. But that is who he calls us to be, to be in a disposition of receptivity so that we can allow his graces and his strength and just his love to flow through us, to be vessels of Jesus's love to other people. And that is how we can be imitators of Jesus. And so this week, I invite you to reflect on, where in your life are you spiritually asleep? Where are you being called to imitate Jesus in a new way?